Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Chrissy Sawyer here. I have a ton of astrology to bring to you. I've had a really big journey this morning. So I'm going to bring that in a moment. First, I thought it might be an idea just to grab this lovely book, which I've had, I don't know, 15 years. And it just never fails to give and give and give. So I'm going to read both verses because they're both pertinent to what's come through this morning. So the first verse is written by Ken Keyes Jr. from the Handbook to Higher Consciousness. How soon will you realize that the only thing you don't have is the direct experience, that there's nothing you need that you don't have? And the second verse is from Eileen Caddy from The Dawn of Change. Be afraid of nothing you have within you, all wisdom, all power, all strength, all understanding. Which makes a lovely foundation for what I'm going to read into. So, in true Chrissy fashion, we have a ton of notes, which I'm going to read through. So this journey began with this fabulous book, which I'm still studying, because I wanted to further explore the Venus retrograde that's coming in July. And we have a Venus retrograde happening in Leo from July the 23rd to September the 4th, depending where you are in the world. And in page 53, on page 53 of this book, came this: the Mayan mythos of Venus. Among the Maya, who were great astronomers, there is scant information about Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. But about the Sun, Moon, and Venus, there exist volumes. Venus had multiple personalities based on the 5 seasonal risings over the 8-year period, and for each rising, a particular face or deity would be ascribed, similar to our star signs. One of the stories that is linked to Mayan mythology is that when Venus went into retrograde, it went into the underworld. There it encountered the sun, then became inflamed in the sun's heart and emerged as a warrior, dripping with blood and ready for battle. The timing of this correlated to the periods when the Mayan armies prepared for battle. If there was a high degree of tension in the world during that 40-day retrograde period, in this instance it's 42 days, such tensions would be accentuated when Venus emerged from the underground as the morning star, and there is no hesitation to actions undertaken at this part of the cycle. As mentioned previously, when Venus emerges as the morning star, she ascends to maximum elongation in about 80 days, quite rapidly. And because Venus is a personal planet, that means it's closer to us. During this setting and rising phase, we're speaking about transformation, death, and rebirth. So in this retrograde, Venus changes her expression, where she sets as the night star, i.e. we can see her at nighttime, and she rises as the morning star, which means we will see her in the morning sky. Fresh, rebirthed, and ready for battle. So during this retrograde, Venus will rise as the morning star on August the 13th. So she goes into setting in this retrograde, and then she rises as the morning star. Okay. We're still in Cancer season until the 23rd. Okay, it's the day of the transition into Leo. But all of this run up, I'm guiding you to understand, is happening in that fourth house. Foundation, roots, family. As we move through the retrograde, Venus will rebirth at 0 degrees on 13th of August and rise for the first time in the visible morning star on August the 17th. Post-shadow phase will end around the 6th of October. One of the big themes I've been witnessing in my professional work is the golden child is coming through, or the parentified child. And that archetype is being deeply challenged at the moment in the collective. The golden child is the child the adults go to for counsel, problem solving, and care. Often the child who is singled out to shine and make the parents look good. So if you want to do some research, if you just Google children of NPD parents, you'll find oodles on children who have grown up with parents who have narcissistic personality disorder. The child rises too fast into a form of success and acceptance by others that can only ever feed the survivalist self, the child's ego, never the child's soul. The child, without discernment or polarity, will move to the polar extreme of goodness and stay there, doing for others to the detriment of itself. It is a form of child neglect, even abuse, so insidious the child is often blind to the vampiric adults that surround them. These abusive relationships can go unnoticed for decades, playing out in the child's adult relationships in the form of overgiving and burnout. Often when I ask a client, when you are giving so much of yourself to others, who is giving to you? Let's say I get some interesting responses. Questions. Was there space for the child to learn, fail, learn again, fall, stand up, and grow on their own terms, safely and fully supported by their adults? And notice what's happening in your body here. What happened when the child got it wrong or displeased its adults? Does that child, now an adult, know how to make a mess? To self-love, self-feed, nurture? Does that child know how to say no without self-justification or defending? Does that child even know how to read the impulses within its body? Our current game-changing astrology seems to be bringing this to the surface in a sentence that sounds a bit like this: without my family's burdens, who am I? Mercury has been traveling through Cancer, opposing Pluto, now in Capricorn, and transforming the house of foundation, roots, and family. The new moon in Cancer is happening on the 17th of July. It will not only coincide with the change in the nodal axis, but will also happen in the energy of a Venus retrograde and Chiron retrograde. This new moon will see the sun and moon conjunct at 24:56 degrees, opposing Pluto in Capricorn. Mutation and transformation are the words I got. Now, I just want to reiterate, I am not an astrologer. I read astrology by listening. I listen to the field, I listen to my body, and I kind of read it like an oracle deck so that I don't get caught up in the rules and regulations, the protocols and the archetypes too much. So this is suggesting to me transformation at a profound level. 24 is alchemic. It is space and time. 56 speaks to DNA. It's profound. Okay. So what I've done is I've cast a few charts for the 17th of July. Don't get fixed on the dates, just feel into the energies. And first I've looked at the asteroids. There is a lot going on. Okay, so if first I say to you that the blue lines are kind of soft aspects, they're trines and sextiles, they're gentle. And the red lines are squares and oppositions. And then I just go to what catches my eye. The first thing to catch my eye is Juno. Okay, so we have Juno sextile Jupiter at 2 degrees and 21. Very, very sensitive. And then we have Juno square Chiron at 5 degrees. Change. And remember, Chiron is going retrograde in a wee while. Juno in astrology, the key word is marriage. The asteroid Juno was the third of 4 major asteroids. So here I have gone to the archetypes just so I can feel in. Third of 4 major asteroids, did I say archetypes? To be discovered in 1805. In mythology, Juno, or the Greek Hera, was wife and consort to Jupiter. So we have Juno sextile Jupiter. And therefore, the astrology of Juno represents the partnering energy of intimate relationship. This is also the territory of Venus and the Moon. But where Juno seems to differ is in representing the partnership energy in a new light, as in the more modern issue of where the boundaries are with another person, how much sharing is appropriate versus holding back. Are there issues of bitterness and jealousy, or projected authority and control onto another person, and intimacy needs in general? So if we're talking about parentified children, or the golden child, we're talking about an absolute abuse of boundaries. So much coming in here. I'm just filtering because I want to keep this direct and simple. Okay, so that's Juno. Then my eye goes to Eris. And so we have 4 placements happening at this time with the asteroid Eris. Sorry, I'm just noticing something else. Bear with me, I'm going to make a note. Yeah, 1805. 14.5. Eris is going to be square to the sun, square to the moon, trine Venus, and square to Pluto. Eris in astrology, keywords: feminine warrior for soul purpose. Square Pluto, soul transformation. And I just want to presence in me, there is a little thunder. There is a little thunder in me. It's coming with the words, fear of speaking out. Okay, thank you. So if we take a look at the mythology of the newest asteroid in our solar system, even though they're calling her a dwarf, and the events surrounding her discovery between 2003 and 6, the idea of potentially violent struggle is indeed paramount, as is the ideal of the vital female warrior. I just want to make the distinction, I'm not speaking to women here, I'm speaking to humans who within them have the polarity of the masculine and the feminine. Okay. We're talking intimacy and polarity, which speaks to where is the harmony. Okay. The astrology of Eris seems to be related to the no-holds-barred fight for continued existence that is fundamental in all natural process, and for making a stand for what one believes, even if violence is involved. Okay, so could quickly descend into shadow expression of the warrior feminine. There is a side of nature that is quite harsh, a struggle for survival, and this struggle is a fundamental part of the human condition as well, for we are still half animal. Nature can be viewed in a rosy light, as it was in the hippie movement of the 60s, Bambi drinking from a little stream, but underlying this beauty is the possibility of sudden death at any moment, since all of nature's children need to eat. Eris is related to this principle and to the concept of the female warrior that embodies it. So this might be the sudden and harsh ending of a relationship. If we're talking Pluto and transformation, there can be no rebirth without death. The death of a thought or a belief. The death of a relationship. Okay. So that's Eris. Then my eye goes to Psyche. So we have two placements happening. So Psyche will square Mercury. I like this one. Mercury, the communicator. Psyche, the hidden self. And Psyche will oppose Jupiter. So that square to Mercury is happening at 0 degrees. That's void energy. And it will oppose Jupiter at 1 degree, 11 minutes, 111. Birthing the natural fire of chaos and disaster is what I get into order. Harmonizing the principles of the fundamental building blocks of life. Fundamental, so strip it back. Psyche, named after the Greek goddess of the soul, is an asteroid designated number 16 in the main asteroid belt. Psyche was discovered in 1852, which is a 16-7 year. 16 speaks to self-determination, introspection, and that flash of insight that changes your outlook. It speaks to harmony between the heart and fire, between the heart and fire mind, or in tarot, the Tower card. It's like Psyche is the child who wants to find his or her own answers, or the child who has struggled to mine from its own resource. So then I go to NASA and discover Psyche is a metal-rich asteroid. So we have Psyche square Mercury. Psyche is a metal-rich asteroid which orbits the sun between Mars and Jupiter. NASA have recently announced its Psyche mining mission will go forward in October 2023. And so we are mining the Psyche. If 16 is a self-determined, intuitive, and confident with its inner wisdom number, and if it tends to be perceptive and able to analyze problems to find viable solutions, and if 16 also speaks to use and abuse in the falling of the tower, I have to wonder at the severity of our collective wounds around harnessing, manipulation, and abuse of our natural-born ability to birth a heart, soul-centered world just from our inner light. So from this point forward, so this lives in my living room, and this is a piece of raw selenite that I mined myself. And when I saw it, this tip was sticking out of the earth. And I thought, should be easy. It took me an hour to dig this heart. It's a heart-shaped selenite out of the earth. Okay, digging, mining for resource. Selenite is such an angelic, heart-centered stone. Okay, so I'm bringing it into the energy of Ophiuchus to hold it in this beautiful, balanced Serpent Bearer. The Serpent Bearer is the alignment of the masculine and the feminine, is the healed self. Unafraid to shed its skin and become raw, naked, vulnerable, but powerful in that. Then it gets more mystical. Because then I notice that this Venus retrograde is conjunct Regulus. And that opens up the Royal Cross. So I go off in this direction to see where it takes me. This was such an adventure this morning. It was just fantastic. So the Royal Cross are the 4 fixed royal stars, okay, or the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Technically, our astrology is out of alignment now with those stars, but I'm bringing the story in as a container. So, Regulus, at the time of this moon, at the time of this moon, and around the time, again, don't get hung up on the dates, but let's say during middle of July, we have Venus at 28 degrees of Leo and Regulus at 0 degrees of Leo. That's a 2-degree conjunction. That's going to activate the north-south axis. And if it activates that axis, it's going to activate the other axis, activating the Royal Cross. So on the wheel, we have in the north, Regulus, which is the heart of Leo. It is the star that is at the heart of the Leo constellation. And it is the archangel of the north, Raphael. So we're talking about healing. We're talking about actually the healing of pride, ego, and vanity, and the releasing of creativity and love and passion and joy and sexuality. That's in the north. In the east, we have Aldebaran, which is the fiery right eye of the bull of Taurus. So the east is Archangel Michael, which speaks of protection. Protection as the sun rises and brings the dawn of a new day. So that's saying feel safe in making change. And where are you allowing yourself to be held? In the south, we have Fomalhaut, which is the eye of Pisces. So we have 2 eyes and 2 hearts. And that's speaking to a shift from material to spiritual expression. And that's represented by Archangel Gabriel. Okay. The clarion call, the communicator. So at this point, before I'll get to the last one in a minute, but at this point, I thought, I wonder what would happen if I used my compass and I plotted the 4 points. So on my desk, I have Regulus here, north. I have Antares, west. I have Aldebaran in the east, and I have Fomalhaut in the south, so that I'm building a systemic container made of royal stars. As I was writing Fomalhaut, a card dropped off Ganesh over there and fell onto the post-it note. I'll show it to you. So I've stuck them both together. And this card was given to me by Judy Hall 100 years ago when I was studying archangels and crystals. Okay. The messenger. And I hid this card in a drawer for about 8 years because I didn't want to be the messenger. I was in absolute denial. Okay. The card lives in front of me now as a daily reminder, and it has lived in front of me for a while now. So we have the messenger in the south, Fomalhaut. Completing the cross, we have the west, okay, and Antares, which is the heart of Scorpio. It's the star right in the middle of the scorpion's back. And that's represented by Archangel Oriel or Uriel, which is the Archangel of Wisdom. Wisdom is about the learned experience, okay? Let me go back to the first verse. How soon will you realize that the only thing you don't have is the direct experience? That there's nothing you need that you don't have. So when we allow ourselves to have the experience and we turn the experience into learning, that is the process of creating wisdom. What did I learn from this? Okay, so we have a container here made from Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel. So that's the Royal Cross. And I'm inviting you to remember also that the nodal change is happening on the cardinal axis of Aries and Libra, which has to activate the other axis. So these are the 4 cardinal signs of Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. Right? Then I get curious about the word royalty. So I do the numerology. So royalty has a soul urge, which is 14.5. 14.5 is, I think, at its highest expression, the word of God, the communicator, the writer, the publisher, media, the messenger, Gabriel. It's the soul urge. The personality is a 21.3. And we had that 21, didn't we? I don't know where it was, but I spoke to the 21 or the 211. 21.3 is uber sensitivity and the freedom to express that. It's the story of the princess and the pea. The princess who lay on several mattresses but could feel the pea hidden in the bottom one. It's that level of sensitivity and knowing. And it's the challenge of, do I shut that down or do I express in this level of knowing? Royalty, sovereignty, alignment of what's in here, bringing it out. So it's spiritual expression rather than material expression. So when I add the soul urge and the personality, I get a 35.8. And what that spoke to immediately was the manifestation of the higher mind into the blueprint. Okay. So they're the written notes. Pop this book down here. And I've already been guided to 2 decks of cards. I'll see what else comes out. So I'll go to the question deck first. So what questions would be helpful in this time of great change? That's too many. Let's try again. Let's shed loads. Start with 1. Thank you. 18. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. So I'm being taken back to the princess and the pig. And I'm also being taken to that warrior expression of the feminine. And how do we express that level of sensitivity? In its ownership, it might sound something like, I'm just expressing that there was a pea digging into my back all night. Full stop. Or the need for something to come back. So that's the entangled relationship with the without. So the within knows it. What do I become most well at? I'm feeling pretty emotional about having lost a night's sleep. And I might want to get cross about that. I might want to make that your fault. I might want to impose my authority upon you. You might take custody of that and blame yourself and try and fix it and solve it and mend it. That's kind of the era that is being washed clean. What do you become most emotional about? Thank you. Another one. This one's hiding. Are my feelings in alignment with my behavior? So if the behavior is coming through the ego, it's going to want something in return. That's the simplest way I can put it. And you'll know this when the thing you're seeking out there doesn't come back, more than when it does. When it does, it will remain in your blind spot. But when it doesn't, feel into that. Because there, you're in your hunger there. You're in your need. Deprivation, what you've been deprived of. Are my feelings in alignment with my behavior? So if that princess is getting stroppy and angry, that might be an angry expression of something more sensitive, that she has the sensitivity to feel that pee. And in communicating that, she has risked the admonishment from small minds or others who have the same issue and are triggered by that. And is there a third? There's always a third. Ooh. Right. I just need to share this with you. While I was shuffling, when I said there's always a third, I was asked, what would you like it to be? And I said something profound. So we're talking about a cardinal cross the energy, okay, lose any idea that I am an astrologer. I'm not. I am picking up on the energy of a cardinal cross and a royal cross. Okay, so if we're talking about cross, we're definitely talking about the harmonizing and the balancing of different energies. How would I describe my personal power right now? Your answer might be, I don't know what personal power is. Oh my God. It's come through on that 21. My personal power is I know that I was sleeping on a pea. I don't need anything from you. Whoa, I'm liking the energy of this. Thank you. Okay. I'm guided to bring the underlying question, which is coming in on a 3. So it's talking to blueprint energy, behavior energy. How did you sleep? Fine. Okay. So if we're talking about 16 energy, we're definitely talking about masks coming off, towers falling down or being pulled down. And the deck I was guided to go to is the Astro. I don't know what's called. Astro something deck. What's the underlying? Entrance, ascendant. Oh, looky here. Oh, well. Oh my God. Give me a minute. My neck is shaking. This might challenge the reptilian brain. Right. Ascendant. Coming in on the 35-8 of royalty. Well. That's very interesting. Your ascendant is where the sun was rising. The sun was rising when you were born. Immerse, 4th house, Cancer, roots, family. Get in there, have a fertile around, see what is ready to be lifted, healed, rebirthed, expressed in a different way without a mask. Okay, 4th house. Yeah. 56, DNA progression in the journey. Oh, July is big. July is big. This is profound change in the fundamental expression of humanity. Okay, so under that we have Mars, motion, resources, invitation. Right, I'm going to start shuffling now because I have a question. My question is, what hides in the unfathomable depth of you? So we've got psyche in, okay. What hides in the unfathomable depths? That feels emotional in my heart. Debilitated discomfort coming in on that 14.5, which is the urge of soul, of royalty. I cannot make this up. So they've all come out. The 21.3, the 14.5, and the 35.8. That debilitated expression of your highest self. The wounded Gabriel. Is hidden in the unfathomable depths of you. A level of communication so profound. Be afraid of nothing. You have within you all wisdom, all power, all strength, all understanding. There's a blimmin' call to action here. Are there any more? Yes. What do you need to tell us? What do you need to tell us? Okay, what's happening here? Right, just look at this. I'm just noticing that. I'm going to put those there. That's something. That is a bit of chaos and too muchness. Okay. Can't make it up, can you? Mercury. DNA, the double helix, the healing. This is serpent healing. It's my naga coming out there. This is, oh gosh, wow, there's so much in here. My crown is going airborne. There's a kind of leaving behindness about this message. There's a kind of I cannot take you with me-ness. And it's where we've turned our light down. It's just light. That's all I can see. It's just like this VR unit of light. I feel a bit dizzy, actually. I'm back. Right. What are these? What are these? What are these? So we're talking to, I can't remember which asteroid it was now. We were talking to marriage and intimacy, relationship. And it's coming in on that 45.9, which is, it's pointing me straight out to the void. There's a little thing that we do in numerology called the Athanor, and that's all I can see in that 45, the bottom of the Athanor. So it's kind of, it's like a, for me, it's a soul forge, which can tell the story at different ages. And the 45 is where we tend to change course because we're at the bottom of the Athanor, looking straight up through that void. through spirit, looking straight into the face of spirit. The 9 wants to come to completion. The 9 is the what's the word? The integration of wisdom. And it can challenge communication spiritually versus communication physically. What do I mean by that? Communication physically might look like the stuff you have. It's this chemical union. It's the energy is so beautiful, and all I can feel is my central column. It's just all activated. Relationship with spirit. That's what that's telling me. (15:6). The spiritual alchemist, or the devil. Which way do I go? Do I go forwards into something new, or do I go backwards into what I already know? And there is no judgment. It's a choice. That's all it is. That's the direct experience. What is this? It is a choice. That's all it is. No good, bad, no right, wrong. That's all human subjective. Review. Look at it again. Now look at it from higher up. Now look at it from over there. Look at it through the eyes of another. Aye. It's all on the table. Love this. Okay, so. Aquarius, intuition. And we're speaking straight to relationship with spirit. And this is the gateway here. And I know I've said it before, but it bears repeating. The age of Aquarius is 1221. Whose authority? Do I act and behave on your authority because you cannot tolerate the depth of me, the spiritual expression of me, the Gabriel of me? Aquarius wants all the freaks to show up with all of their flags making a mess, and for that to be okay. In the absence of judgment and protocols and being good and nice and golden. Sometimes it's just about being a fucking mess and owning that, standing in that. It's glorious, glorious, glorious chaos. The balancing of Castor and Pollux, isn't it? The light and the shadow. Gemini and Mercury on the table. Well, I know I've always been like this, but now I'm like this. That's what I'm getting. This is beautiful. Where do I go now? Oh, I go to this mess. I go to the mess. Right, okay. Sometimes it's just about being a fucking mess. Okay. So we have this collapse of cards on the table. All right. And I make a mess. And make a mess. And that feels good. That does feel good. Aries, act without thinking. No thinking. Just do it. Brilliant. Thank you. That was elegant. I love that. Make a mess. Thank you. Oh, you wonderful, wonderful cards. Wonderful guides. Wonderful family. Unbelievable. Ah, God. Underlying card. Shine. Drop the mic. Is there anything else that wants to come out? I can see the Lightseer's Tarot winking at me. Shine. Unabashedly. Shamelessly shine. Okay, let's have you. Okay, I'm going to go for, can we have the wrap up messages? Let's start wrapping this up because I'm in my joy here and I will be here all day. You folks are busy. Let's have some wrap up messages. What is my question? What is my question? Oops. What are my triggers and warning signs? Okay, teach. Okay. Retrograde energy. I'm hearing a real frustration with this. I've looked at this already from every bloody way and I cannot figure it. I'm not going back to look at, so there's going to be some resistance to the review, rethink, refeel. There's going to be some resistance. Do it a different way. Do it with crayons. Do it with a mess. Do it a different way. If the way you're doing it is leaving you in frustration, do it a different way. We have a royal alignment going on. How do you want to play? And that one? I want to play passionately. The expression of passion. Look at her. Royal fire. Leo. Royal fire. Okay, yeah. What's stopping you? Write that down. What is stopping you? Oh, 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 oh. The main energy I get with this is leaving, like leaving, but not really arriving, just leaving, the pain of leaving. Like the utter forlorn, had enoughness and leaving. And then as my eye goes down, it goes to trust. This goes to trust and trusting wings. Because they will be the messengers of the part of herself that she can't access. So we might be speaking to psyche here. The part of her psyche that she cannot access to pull her forward. And this is the letting go. That's the debilitation, isn't it? That's that. Oh, geez, wow. So this is the big paradigm of distraction. It's distraction. Okay, right. So the promise of your 10 of Cups, but the clarity to know that that might not exist in the way that's been sold to you. And here's the heartbreak of realization. There's a real tension here. It's a very focused expression of whatever that is. So I was just about to say, I'm glad to see she's expressing it as sound. Okay. So I've got Gabriel here pinned to my lamp, the messenger, and I can see the cross here, where she stitched her heart together again and again and again. Again, don't get hung up on the she. We have stitched our hearts, believing in the next dream and the next miracle. Okay, this is all the distraction that is in the world of, well, I could say media, the New Age movement, the promise of a promised land, but the work's got to be done, and sometimes the work is going to look like that. And here we have the South Node in Libra. Okay, this is the balancing of the scales. This is the divine right. To wield your own sword and balance your own scales. And stare into the mirror of your own reflection and accept all of you. All of you. Without permission. Without approval, validation. Because if we're speaking about polarity in terms of the golden child, as good as that kid can be, as that human can be, it can also be bad. It has access to the whole axis. But where we're working in Libra energy, we're making a choice. We're choosing rather than have it chosen for us. Oh, didn't see those two. Wow. I didn't even know those cards were there. My hand just went straight onto this slidey thing, and it's like, oh, there's cards. Okay, so we're in justice energy. I don't know what to say. Completion, it's done. You could almost see this as an Ouroboros. Is that an Ouroboros? It is. The beard Ouroboros, the too much. The constant evolution, the digesting, the shedding of the skin, the rebirth, the digesting and the shedding of the skin and the rebirth. And the end of a cycle. And this is taking me to that 44.8 that came in the last video, where it wasn't so much about building heaven on earth, it was about building the sun on earth. Wow, my solar plexus and heart are lighting up. Building the sun on earth, the solar divine child reborn. Oh, can we finish with Isis? Can we just get some Isis cards? Can we do that? And then I'm gone. Okay. Let's have a closing message, please, for today. Really? 4. Okay. Right. So Isis wants 4 cards. 1 for Michael in the east, Raphael in the north, Gabriel in the south, and Uriel in the west. We'll start with the east. Archangel Michael. Make a mess. Oh, gone to thinking. I've interrupted myself now. Right. I'm going to start again. But the one I turned, I'm going to keep that one actually, for Aldebaran in the east, Taurus and Archangel Michael, is the dark mysteries. The dark goddess calls you to her inner chamber, where she holds a test and a gift for you, right? I think that was the test, the Lightseer's Tarot. I think that was the test. Is the test. The test is your willingness to meet and release the fears within that have been secretly holding you back. The gift is freedom, peace, opportunity, prosperity in all its forms. Will you accept her call? Your time for deeper initiation is here. Right. Okay. That comes with Michael. Where are we going? We're going to Gabriel. Fomalhaut in the south. What would you like to say, Messenger? And we go to Regulus in the north and Raphael. And we go to Antares in the west and Uriel. Wisdom. Okay. Okay. Gabriel is the Merkaba, or the star tetrahedron, chariot of ascension. A spiritual practice has come or is soon coming to your attention that will help your soul journey. Take your time to develop and practice your chosen spiritual discipline regularly. This will help you grow in power and grace, anchoring the spiritual light within the body of your soul. Well, 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 well. Regulus, north, Raphael is the knot of Isis. Part of your destiny involves a special relationship with the goddess. This means that not only do you have the important spiritual task of helping her thrive in this world, but you are afforded her power, protection, and abundance too. You are now deepening your connection to the goddess. It's coming through Leo. I'm just saying. And Scorpio in the west with Antares and Archangel Uriel, wisdom. Oh, wow. Past life, present power. If that isn't the epitome of wisdom, what did I learn? It's the world. It's the closing of the cycle. As the soul grows in service to the great feminine and her intention that all beings be healed and free, it gathers internal resources to assist on the path. These resources include powers and gifts from other lifetimes. You are currently integrating, that's the word I was trying to find before, past life abilities. Be open to what is taking place as your soul awakens ancient power and abilities within you. Wow. I'm going to leave it there. With a final message. Because part of what we're healing is our ability to invite help. Okay. From people on the ground, from ancestors, from archangels, from star systems, from the 4 royal stars. Invite help. Play. There's no right or wrong here. Invite the divine to pursue you. Seriously, just say, I'm finally ready, God, pursue me. That's beautiful. We're finally ready. God, pursue us. Okay. Obviously, not God in a religious sense. Right, I'm going. Please like, share, subscribe. Leave me a comment. Definitely leave me a comment. This has been an absolute joy. I'm going to leave you for now, and I will see you again soon. Much love.